Imagine China over 1,000 years ago. A new family, the Li family, has just taken power. They have started a new chapter in China's long and dramatic story. This was the beginning of the Tang Dynasty. It started in the year 618. Before the Tang, China was divided and often at war. The previous dynasty, the Sui, had united the country, but it did not last very long. The Sui rulers were harsh, and their grand projects, like building the Grand Canal, cost many lives and a great deal of money. This made the people very unhappy and led to many rebellions across the land. It was a time of chaos and uncertainty for everyone. Out of this turmoil, a powerful general named Li Yuan emerged. He was a clever and ambitious man. He saw his chance to seize control. With the help of his very capable son, Li Shimin, he marched his army to the capital city. He declared himself the first emperor of a new dynasty, the Tang Dynasty. He became known as Emperor Gaozu. He promised to bring peace and stability back to the land. This was a promise that the people desperately wanted to hear. They were tired of the constant fighting and hardship. The start of the Tang Dynasty was like the sun rising after a long and dark night. Emperor Gaozu and his son, who would later become the great Emperor Taizong, worked hard to fix the problems that had plagued the Sui dynasty. They reformed the government, making it more efficient and fair. They created laws that were easier for people to understand and follow. They also reduced the heavy taxes that had burdened the common folk. This made them very popular. It was a smart move. Happy people are less likely to rebel. They laid the foundations for a strong and prosperous empire that would last for nearly 300 years, from 618 to 907. This was the start of something truly special in Chinese history. The early years were all about building a solid base for the future. The new rulers knew that a strong military was important, but a happy population was even more so. They focused on agriculture, helping farmers grow more food. They repaired roads and canals, which made it easier to travel and trade goods across the vast country. This careful planning and hard work set the stage for a period of incredible growth and creativity. The Tang Dynasty was not just another line of emperors. It was the beginning of what many people call China's Golden Age, a time when China was the most powerful and advanced nation on earth. So, why do we call the Tang Dynasty a Golden Age? It was a time when China was incredibly open to the world. Its capital city, Chang'an, which is modern-day Xi'an, was a magnificent metropolis. It was the largest city in the world at the time. People from all over Asia and even further away came here. Merchants, monks, artists and scholars from places like Persia, India, Japan and Korea filled its bustling streets. This created a wonderful mix of cultures, ideas and religions. It was a cosmopolitan hub where new things were always happening. You could find Christian churches, Jewish synagogues and Buddhist temples all in the same city. This openness led to an explosion of creativity in the arts. Tang poetry is still considered the finest in all of Chinese history. Poets like Li Bai and Du Fu wrote beautiful verses about nature, friendship, war, and the joys and sorrows of life. Their poems are still read and loved by millions today. Painting also reached new heights, with artists creating stunning landscapes of mountains and rivers. Sculpture was also very important, especially the detailed ceramic figures found in tombs. These figures show us what life was like, from elegant court ladies to powerful warriors and foreign merchants with their big noses and beards, all captured in clay. It wasn't just art that blossomed. Technology also took great leaps forward. One of the most important inventions of this time was woodblock printing. Craftsmen would carve characters onto a wooden block, ink it and then press it onto paper. This made it possible to print books much faster than writing them by hand. Suddenly, knowledge could be shared more widely and cheaply than ever before. This incredible invention helped to spread education and new ideas throughout the empire. Other advancements included better shipbuilding techniques, allowing for bigger and safer ships, and the development of more accurate clocks. Trade was the engine that powered this golden age. The famous Silk Road was busier than ever during the Tang Dynasty. Long caravans of camels traveled west, carrying precious silk, tea and porcelain. They returned with horses, glass, spices and new ideas from Central Asia and Europe. Sea routes also became very important, connecting China to Southeast Asia, India and the Persian Gulf. This trade made China incredibly wealthy. The government controlled the production of silk and salt, which brought in a huge amount of money. This wealth funded the grand cities, the powerful army, and the vibrant arts and culture that made the Tang Dynasty so remarkable. The story of the Tang Dynasty is also a story of its fascinating rulers. After the first emperor, his son Li Shimin took the throne. He is known as Emperor Taizong, and he is remembered as one of China's greatest emperors. He was a brilliant military strategist and a wise ruler. He listened to his advisors and was not afraid to admit when he was wrong. He expanded the empire's borders and created a period of peace and prosperity known as the Reign of Zhengguan. He truly set the standard for what a good emperor should be, and later rulers would look back to his reign as a model to follow. Perhaps the most famous, and certainly the most controversial ruler of the Tang Dynasty was a woman. Her name was Wu Zetian. She started her life at court as a concubine of Emperor Taizong. After he died, she cleverly managed to become the empress of his son, Emperor Gaozong. She was intelligent, ambitious, and ruthless. When her husband became ill, she effectively ruled the empire in his name. After his death, she pushed aside her own sons, and in the year 690, declared herself Empress Regnant, the one and only woman to ever officially rule China in her own right. She even started her own dynasty, the Zhou, for a short time. Wu Zetian's reign was a mix of progress and terror. She was a strong supporter of Buddhism, and many beautiful temples and statues were created during her time. She was also very good at finding talented men from lower classes to serve in her government, which made it more effective. However, she was also known for her cruelty. She created a secret police force to spy on her enemies, and had many of her rivals, including members of the imperial family, executed or exiled. Her story is a dramatic tale of power, ambition, and breaking all the rules in a man's world. After she was overthrown in her old age, the Tang Dynasty was restored. Another famous emperor was Emperor Xuanzong, who ruled for over 40 years. The first part of his reign was another high point for the Tang Dynasty. Culture flourished, and the empire was peaceful and rich. He was a great patron of the arts. However, in his later years, the story takes a tragic turn. The emperor fell deeply in love with a beautiful concubine named young Guifei. He spent more and more time with her and less time on the duties of government. He gave her family members powerful positions, which caused a lot of resentment. This neglect of his duties would have disastrous consequences for the empire and lead to its decline. The Golden Age could not last forever. The beginning of the end came during the later years of Emperor Xuanzong's rule. His focus on young Guifei and her family allowed a powerful general named Anlushan to gain a lot of military power in the north. In 755, Anlushan used this power to rebel against the emperor. This was the Anlushan Rebellion, a devastating civil war that lasted for 8 long years. The rebellion tore the empire apart. The capital city, Chang'an, was captured, and the emperor was forced to flee. The war caused millions of deaths and destroyed much of the country's wealth. Even though the Tang Dynasty eventually defeated the rebellion and survived, it was never the same again. The central government was much weaker. To defeat Anlushan, the court had been forced to give more power to regional military governors. After the war, these governors often refused to give that power back. They ruled their own lands like kings, collecting their own taxes and commanding their own armies. The emperor in Chang'an became more like a puppet, with little real control over large parts of his own country. The once unified and strong empire was now fractured and weak. Over the next century and a half, the Tang Dynasty slowly crumbled. There were more rebellions by peasants who were suffering from heavy taxes and famine. Powerful court officials known as eunuchs gained too much control over the emperors and fought with government scholars for influence. The empire was constantly under threat from outside invaders as well. Finally, in the year 907, the last Tang emperor was forced to give up his throne by another powerful warlord. This marked the official end of the Tang dynasty. China once again fell into a period of division and warfare that would last for more than 50 years. Despite its sad end, the Tang dynasty's legacy shines brightly even today on July 20th, 2025. Its achievements in poetry, art and technology became the standard for all future Chinese dynasties. The idea of a unified, cultured and open China is a powerful part of the country's identity. The Tang is remembered as a time of strength and confidence, a period when China was a true global superpower that welcomed the world. The stories of its great emperors, its brilliant poets, and its bustling Silk Road cities continue to inspire and fascinate us. The golden age of the Tang may have ended, but its light has never truly gone out.